Hey friends, how are you? Happy Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, August 26th. It is 2 p.m. and it's time for my Facebook Live to Go class. I am April Davis with April Davis Creations, and I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up, and I live in Spring Hill, Kansas. And today is an absolutely gorgeous day. The weather is beautiful. I'm looking to see if I've gone live. I'm not seeing it yet. This is making me a little nervous. How come I'm not live? It says I'm live, but it's not showing up that I'm live. Hold on, guys. Double checking. And I am live. Made me nervous for a second. Anyway, today is a gorgeous day. It was like 74 degrees when we went out. We had to go pick my car up from the dealership. It had to have some maintenance work done on it. And I was able to enjoy some of the weather, have lunch with my husband, and now I'm back with you guys. And it's just incredibly gorgeous out. I don't know, I keep hearing all these stories of this record heat going on in other areas of the country. If you're experiencing record heat, let me know. But gosh, I hope you're experiencing this gorgeous weather like I am. I'm so ready for fall. In fact, it was a little chilly this morning in the 50s. So anyway, so much going on. As you're well aware, we're just days away from the release of our new mini catalog. So if you are interested in receiving a mini catalog from me and you have placed an order with me in the last 6 months, just send me a quick message to say, hey, I want a catalog, and I'll make sure when I'm packaging up all the catalogs that I get you guys on the list so I can get your new mini catalog to you. All of the online products are going to be available at the same time that the mini catalog releases, so there's lots to go. And I'm going to show you a few of the projects that I've been working on in the last week or so. Just a couple today, and then we'll sprinkle some more in later. But before I do anything, I want to make sure that I give you guys just some quick updates before we get into this fun class that we're doing. If you're watching, please do say hello. Let me know where you're watching from, and I'd love to know what your weather's like. I'm hoping you've got the same best weather that we've got today. All right, so let me switch the screen, and there we go. Just a quick reminder about the Last Chance products. They've added some new Last Chance products. I don't know if you are on my email list. A plug for my email list. Hi Sandra, thank you for saying hello. Anybody who's on my email list, they receive a free tutorial the last day of every month. So if you're on my email list, that tutorial has been created and is scheduled to go out on the 31st. But I did have a fairly lengthy weekly email that went out on Monday. That's when my weekly emails go out. And I was sharing with everyone that Stampin' Up! Has made a few decisions, a few changes. And a couple of those changes are, for example, they are no longer going to be creating the cling stamps, which are the rubber stamps. All of our stamps are going to be photopolymer going forward, and it will be a phase-in. If they've got stamps in inventory, you'll continue to get those cling stamps. But as we move forward into the new product lines and such, those will all be photopolymer. And part of the reason for that is just that the materials have been really hard to get. And although I do like the cling stamps, it's hard for me when I'm stamping with cling stamps because it's hard to see through them, right? So I do enjoy the photopolymer, and I think the photopolymer stamps are just getting better and better. Also, part of that is that the markers are Stampin' Right markers, and let me just bring one in for you guys to see, but our Stampin' Right markers, the Stampin' Right markers are being discontinued as well. Just because of the popularity of the Stampin' Blend markers, the Stampin' Right markers sales have gone down, and a lot of times you use the Stampin' Right markers to just color on your cling stamps and then stamp with your cling stamps, and with the cling stamps stamps going away, the Stampin' Up! Markers, you know, may be used less and less. Now, I know that a lot of people do love the Stampin' Right markers, and I wanted to share with you, I don't know if you know this or not, but the Stampin' Right markers can be refilled. So if you have them, make sure you've got the ink refills for it. Back when I was doing my 12 days of Christmas, after Christmas of last year, I showed you how to refill these markers, but I'm happy to do it again if there's interest. But I'm hanging on to my markers. I'm glad I've got my markers. I don't use them all that often, but I think they're going to last for a long, long time because I've got the ink refill. The reason I share that with you and tying you back into last chance products, the Stampin' Right markers are going to the last chance list. So if you are interested in the Stampin' Right markers, check them out on the last chance list. All right, this is the last week for the 2025-2027 in color products sale. It ends August 31st. I can't believe August 31st is just like right around the corner, but if you've been meaning to do this and take advantage of the products that are on sale, this is the last week for that, so you want to take advantage of that. Also, just a quick plug for the Paper Pumpkin. Registration for the September Paper Pumpkin ends on September the 10th, and we just finished the alternatives tutorial for the August Paper Pumpkin. So if you're a Paper Pumpkin subscriber through me, you get that alternatives tutorial, which is 12 additional cards created by 4 different designers. You get that automatically free, and that email actually went out this morning. I do also have the tutorial posted on my PDF store in my website if you go to aprildaviscreations.com, so you can get those tutorials. But especially if you're like a demonstrator and you're already a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, or you're just a Paper Pumpkin subscriber not through me, you can purchase those tutorials. But if you subscribe through me with Paper Pumpkin, you get those tutorials absolutely free. Okay, one last plug for the Create Happiness Club. This is the club that's every other month, and registration for this September version, I know it says August, just pretend that says September, but the September version of this club, the registration ends on August 31st, and then the kit for this will go out on around September 20th. And again, just go to aprildaviscreations.com. I put it up at the top for more information. It explains how the club works, that you're billed every other month, and they're a step up in the cards. They're a little bit more involved, but so fun. You get a tutorial and you get a video playlist. So I actually show you how to create these cards. So this ends August 31st. And now we have the brand new September Crafting Happiness Club out. I just shipped out the August Crafting Happiness Club kits, and now you get a sneak peek of what we've got for the September Crafting Happiness Club kit. This is a kit that comes to your doorstep every month, and once you register for it, it's an automatic billing, and you will receive the kit with product to make 4 cards, 2 of each card. So you're making 8 cards. You get cardstock, you get DSP, you get packaging for the various different things that we do in this kit. But this registration is just open and it's out on my website as well. All right, last plug for my retired Stampin' Up! Products. I just posted just a few weeks ago, I don't know, a couple dozen products that have retired. So if you haven't had a chance to go out and look at my retired products store, take a chance and go out and look at that, because there's a lot of fun things out there. All right, let's talk about a couple of the things that are coming in September. I told you I was going to give you a couple of sneak peeks. So one of the stamp sets, and this is in the catalog, one of the stamp sets is the Gingerbread Man stamp set. And you have the stamps and the dies. These dies are set up so that you can actually make a gingerbread card. So this has got a fold piece, and so you can actually set it up so you've got a gingerbread card, and then it also comes with all of the other pieces like the fun candy canes and candy and hats and all sorts of fun things with it. And I've been creating with this stamp set, and I wanted to show you the card that I had made. This is a stand-up card. You can put your message on the back, but check out that cutie pie. He is just so cute, and I mean, honestly, he does look good enough to eat. But I had so much fun playing with this. So that's something that's coming in the upcoming catalog. And then another stamp set I'll share with you is called Amber Autumn. I'm actually partial to this one only because I feel like it's named after my daughter. My daughter's name is Autumn. I am April. My daughter's name is Autumn, and I have a granddaughter whose name is Kate May, M-A-Y. So we're trying to start this tradition of seasons, months, but I just love the name Autumn. And so this is a fun Amber Autumn wishes, and you've got pumpkins, you've got the leaves with the acorns. I'm blessed to have you in my life, and the dies for this are really fun. There's a die that cuts a fun background, and here's an example of this background, but I want to show you the background that I used for this card. And so I've got it on gold foil paper, and I went ahead and embossed it in gold and the autumn wishes in gold, and then gave it some color. So you probably will be seeing some of these cards that I'm sharing with you today in the upcoming future as we move forward into the new mini catalog and the new season. Okay, so let's talk about our cards for today. So the cards for today are really a lot of fun. I love this tractor, and you know, I'm not a farmer myself, but my daughter and her husband live on a farm. They actually raise pigs and they raise cows, and you know, they've had trouble finding me. Hope everyone's having a great day. I love the autumn cards that you were showing. Thank you, Diana. I'm glad you found this. I'm sorry it was hard for you to find me, but I'm glad you're here now. Anyway, one of the stamp sets that we have right now, and it's in the online store, is the Tractor & Co. Stamp set, and it comes with, you know, of course, all the stamps, and it also comes with the dies so you can create your scenes. So what I did is harvest. You know, the end of summer is upon us. I know we're still in the heat of the summer, but the end of the summer is going to be here before we know it, and all the farmers are going to be harvesting. So my first card I created was with the tractor and the corn that I'm excited to have. Then we're going to move into fall, and of course pumpkins are symbolize fall, and so I'm going to show you how to create this fun card for fall. And then I took it one step further, and now we have a card for Christmas as well, and this tractor is pulling in some Christmas trees. So we're going to make each one of these cards, and I'm going to show you how we're going to do it. So let's start with our tractor that's going to be harvesting corn. I've got a piece of garden green cardstock for our card base. I'm using Darling Duckling for a layer. I've also got a piece of basic white that will be one of our layers. And then just to save us some time, I cut out all the pieces of the tractor. I've got a label for our sentiment, but we've got all of our tractor pieces. Make sure I've got them all out of here. Here's another piece. And we're going to put this together. It's kind of like putting together a, I don't know, paper doll, perhaps. So I need to do some stamping. So the first stamping I'm going to do is on my basic white layer. I'm going to try to keep all these pieces together so that I don't lose them, because you guys know me, I'm notorious for losing things in this teeny tiny little space. I'm going to bring in my silicone mat. The silicone mat's going to help with gluing, but it's also going to help with stamping, because the stamping, we're using the photopolymer stamps, and I just need a little bit of a cushion. Stamping on this glass mat doesn't give it an opportunity to connect with the paper as well. So I'm going to stamp my corn stems in garden green. So I'm going to bring this over, and we're going to do garden green stems. So let me go ahead and do this. And this is our stamp, and I'm going to stamp it a couple times. So we're going to get this inked up, and I'm going to stamp right down here at the bottom, and we'll do 1, And then I'm going to turn around and I'm going to add another one. And let me see, I think, yeah, we're just going to do the 2. So I've got my corn here. And let's go ahead and clean this up. And I've got my stamp cleaner right here. I hit it with the envelope. So let's go ahead and clean this up, and then we'll stamp our corn. So let me get this cleaned up. And now we've got our corn, and I'm going to stamp the corn in Darling Duckling. So let's go ahead and bring that ink in. And these line up. So once I've got this inked up, then I can line it up here right where the corn needs to be. And I'll stamp this one. There we go. And then I'm going to do the same on this one. Okay, so we've got that stamping done. Let me look and see in this card if there's any other stamping I need to do. And I do, actually. I was supposed to have 2 of these, and I only have 1. So let me grab another sheet of paper really, really quick for my inside, because this card is going to be basically a fun fold card. So I've got a sheet that's going on the inside, and we are going to actually stamp some more corn. So let me get my, I'm not gonna clean that because I'm gonna have to use it again, but let me get out my garden green. And while I'm doing this, I am going to stamp some more corn. So I'm gonna move this out of the way. This is the front. And actually, yeah, I think we're good. I'm gonna stamp right down here in the corner. Okay, so now we'll clean this up. And I'll close that up in just a second. Let's go ahead and get this corn stamped so I can clean this stamp off. And we should be good to go. I need to check something though. I think I'm good. I think I threw myself off a little bit because when I prepare my kits, I normally don't do the insides. Normally, every once in a while I surprise you guys. But this time I am doing the inside, and to do the inside, I want to make sure these 2 pieces go together. They do. This is the inside. And what I'm going to do with this one, and I have to reach behind me and grab my trimmer, but we're going to take this and fold it in half. And then my trimmer's right here, pulling it over. We are going to, this is 5.5. We are going to trim 2 1/4 off. 2 and 5.5 and 5.5, 2 3/4 off. 2, 4, 5 and yeah. All right, 2 3/4 off. So I'm going to trim this off like this, and we'll just save this piece for another day. But now I've got the front of my card. And this is where we're going to attach this, and it'll be like a fun fold. So the first thing that I can do is I can go ahead and I can put this piece on the inside of my card. So let me go ahead and get this glued down. All right. This piece has a little bit of a wrinkle in it, so I'm going to try to smooth it out with my bone folder. Make sure I got it centered where I want it. That's good. Okay, so before we can go ahead and layer this piece down. I'm not going to add it to the card just yet, but I can add it to the yellow. So let me go ahead and get that done. Get this centered up. Whoops. I want to make sure I stay on screen for you guys. All right, so we'll set this off to the side. Now what I want to do is I want to bring my silicone mat back in because I'm going to be doing some gluing. And I have to assemble this tractor. So before we actually put the tractor together, I'm going to bring in a dauber of garden green. And what I want to do is I want to ink up the edges of my tractor just to kind of add some dimension to it. I like to add the dimension just so that it doesn't look like I'm just gluing cardstock on top of cardstock, which is what I am doing. But if you take your ink dauber and you just ink it up, and you can see I label my ink daubers. This is Garden Green. So I'm just doing tone on tone, if you will, but it's dark enough that I can just ink up these edges, and it just adds a little bit of dimension to this piece before I put the card together. So let me get this inked up, and I've got this little fender. Is that what this is? A fender on a tractor? I don't know. I'm not a farmer myself, but I love tractors, and it kind of reminds me of, do you remember the pickup truck that's really popular? So I fell in love with the pickup truck too, but that was in catalog last year. Now we've got the tractor. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this inked up. And when I'm building pieces like this is what I tend to do, is do some inking. So again, we've got a little bit of dimension here. And I will apologize ahead of time. We are having our shower upstairs remodeled, and the contractor that's working on that, he's doing some drilling and such, and I can hear it, so I'm thinking that maybe you guys can hear it too. All right, so let's go ahead and start to build this tractor. And the first thing I want to do is let's go ahead and put our little, I don't know, do we call them hubcaps for our wheels? So I'm going to turn everything over, at least this part of it, and I'm just going to put a tiny bit of glue here. And I'm going to actually bring in my tweezers to kind of help me with this so that my fingers aren't in the way. But I'll go ahead and get this one centered, and then I'm going to bring this wheel in. Whoops, don't want to lose that. So not hard cards to make, but just a tiny bit time consuming, just because you have to cut out all these little pieces. But then after you've done that, then it's assembly. So we're going to move those off to the side, and I am going to start to build this tractor. So this is the steering wheel and the, I don't know, the little pipe that comes out. What do they call that? I don't even know. But we'll go ahead and get this. I want to make sure I've got the right side up. But we'll go ahead and get this. Now, one of the things that you can do, and I don't ever remember to do this, partly because I like to have the flexibility of the glue, but we do have sticker paper, so two-sided paper. So what I could do is, when we're working with these teeny tiny little pieces, I can actually put them on some sticker paper and die cut them, and then all I have to do is basically peel and stick the pieces on, and I don't have to mess with the glue. But I don't mind the glue, and I use my silicone mat, so if I do get any glue out, it's on my silicone mat, not on my glass mat. And then I'm going to take a little bit of glue. This is my seat, and we'll take a little bit of glue, and I'm going to just put it down at the bottom here. And let's see, we'll just line this up like so, I think. So now we've got that. So now I need to do my fenders. So let me put some glue on my fenders. Oops. That fender and this fender. So we'll get these down first. I'm not even sure if I'm doing it the same way that I did it the first time I did it, but get this lined up. Okay, and then we'll do this one. Really easy to line up. Okay, we've got that part done. Now I need to get these onto my tractor wheels. So I'm going to put a little bit more glue here. Whoops. And we are making 3 tractors. So yes, I'm going to be putting 3 tractors together for you guys today. So let me get this lined up. Come down to about right here, I think. And then I've got glue on there. It's still there. Hold on. Let me do this. Move this down. And then we'll go ahead and get this one lined up. Okay, there we go. So now we've got our tractor. And now what I'll do is I'm going, oops, It's not dry yet, and I just messed it up. So let me give you another chance. I'm gonna actually take a block, put the block on top, and just let that set for a minute because I've got one more thing I need to stamp, but I do need my little Stampin', my silicone mat to stamp. I need to stamp our sentiment. So the sentiment, let me see, do I have it out? I don't know that I put it on a block. All right, let me pull the stamp set out, and we're gonna do thanks for pulling me through. So let me find that stamp, thanks for pulling me through, right here. And then I'll grab a block up here. And when I put my sentiments on, I usually just place them down and then center the block over it. It just depends on how big the block is and how big the sentiment is. And sometimes I angle it a little bit. All right, so let me bring in the Memento black ink. And we'll get this inked up. And then I'm going to come clear over to the left side of this because I'm going to be cutting off a little bit as I tuck it up underneath my tractor. So we've got thanks for pulling me through. I'm going to go ahead and use it, but it's a little thick down here for two reasons. Number one, I probably just had too much ink on here, and then the other thing is you have to be careful when you're working with your photopolymer stamp so you don't squish too hard, because if you squish too hard, sometimes you can kind of flatten your stamp out a little bit, if you will. So let me put this off to the side, and then we're going to bring this back in. I'm going to bring in some dimensionals, and we are going to put some dimensionals on the back of this tractor so we can pop it up on our card. So I'm going to put one here. And I don't feel like cutting that one up just yet, so we're going to take a new sheet, put one here, here, and I think I'm going to put one right here. And I think that should be good for our tractor. And then this, I'm going to take my snips, and I'm just going to snip off a little bit of this because I want to tuck it back in behind my tractor before I put it down. And I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on this back side. It's going to be kind of waving in the wind, so to speak. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to get my oh, I got to take my backings off. Oop, can't forget to do that. And that one backing went flying somewhere. I find these backings to dimensionals all over the place. They stick to my clothes sometimes, and then I'll be upstairs, and I find them everywhere. All right, so let's go ahead and get our tractor down, and then I'm gonna turn this over, and I'm gonna tuck this in just in case I've got a dimensional there. I can tuck that in, and the dimensional will help to hold it down as well. So now that I've got that part done, how fun is that? Now what we can do is we can bring in the rest of the card, and we are going to actually just center this on this side. So what I'll do is I will center it so that it's centered this way as well. So I need to put glue on, I'm using my thumb and my finger to kind of help me see where I need to put the glue. I'm only going to put it on this part. Okay, then we'll put this back down, and then if I need to add more, I can, but I would rather have too little glue than too much glue, and then it would be on my other side. But I pretty much tried to stay on this half, so when I open this up, I don't have any glue here. And now you can put your message in up here or behind, you can, because the tractor will hide it. But there you go, here is card number 1. How fun was that? We're ready for harvest. Okay, let's move to card number 2. Card number 2 is going to be a little bit more interesting because I've decided that instead of stamping, or excuse me, die cutting all the pieces, I am going to die cut the pieces, but instead of cutting out of cardstock, I'm going to stamp it, and I'm going to show you what we're going to do. So here's my card base in basic white. Then I'm using Cajun Craze as a layer. And then what I did is let me pull this out so you guys can see. I used the Splendid Autumn DSP. I created this card just on regular cardstock, and I'm like, I want it to be fall. I want it to look like fall. So in my Splendid Autumn DSP, I found some fall trees. I'm going to take this down. Okay, I found some fall trees. So I did that, and then I also found some green that I'm going to do for my grass. So I've got this set up so we can layer all of that down. Then what I did is I just used, let me see if I've got it here. It's my Greetings ephemera. I've got a whole stack of it, and I'm not sure where I placed it right at the moment, but I just pulled a greeting out of my ephemera pack, and that is in the catalog. That's going to go here. And then the rest of this is stamping that we're going to do. So let me move this out of the way. Let's go ahead and get these layers down really quick so we can go ahead and move on to the stamping part of it. So we'll go ahead and we're going to add the DSP. Actually, my green grass was the back side, as you can see, of the DSP that I chose. So we're going to go ahead and put this down. Get it lined up where I want it. And then we'll take this one and we're going to get it lined up as well. And then we can focus on creating the tractor because we are going to be stamping the tractor. So now we've got this down. Whoop, sliding it around. Hold on. Trying to move it into place. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the sentiment on just so that that's out of the way. And I'm just putting it on with dimensionals. It's going to go in the upper right hand corner, so it's not going to be in the way of my tractor. So we'll just go ahead and get that part of it done as well. So we'll do 4 of those. And I've got my take your pick here. Let's take these backings off. I like it when I use my take your pick for that. Okay, we'll go ahead and put this up here. And it's going to go like right up in the very corner. So hopefully I got that straight enough. And then we'll take that and we're going to put it on our card base. And we'll have that part of it done. Okay, so now all we need to add is our tractor. So here's how we're going to make the tractor. If you have some sort of a stamp positioner, I would recommend a stamp positioner because when you look at these stamps, they are solid stamps. And if you've stamped with solid stamps before, you know that sometimes it's hard to get the kind of stamp you want on a solid stamp on the first try. Sometimes you have to add a couple, 2 or 3 layers, right? And even though these are photopolymer stamps, sometimes these stamps are a little hard to line up. So I'm getting all my pieces out that I need to stamp. And I think I've got them over here. So I'm pulling out my stamp positioner. This is the Stamparatus. Stampin' Up! No longer carries the Stamparatus, but hopefully you've got some sort of a stamp positioner. Misty's got several stamp positioners. There's a number of companies that have stamp positioners. I'm using the Stamparatus, and then I'm going to share with you this little tool that I use as well. This actually is called, and I knew you guys were going to ask, so I pulled it out. It's called the Positively, see the paw? Perfect Craft Tacky Mat. And I use this tacky mat to help keep my pieces in place so that I don't have to worry about them moving. So I am putting this tacky mat in the corner, and then what I'm gonna do, we're gonna do our pumpkins first, and I can take I'm using the peach pie cardstock, and you can see now it's down on my mat, so it's sticky. This alleviates having to use the magnets. I've used the magnets for years and years and years, but I just didn't, I just don't want to mess with magnets, and this tacky mat works beautifully for me. My pumpkins, I actually pulled my pumpkins out there on a block, and I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to line my pumpkins up here. Remember, we're going to be die cutting all of this. So now that I've got my paper down, I can go ahead and I can get this lined up. The pumpkins are sticky, so now I've got to double check to make sure that Yes. All right, so we're gonna stamp the pumpkins in pumpkin pie. And again, I'm making sure that my mat is in the corner. So I'm gonna go ahead, let me move this over a little bit so you guys can see. But I'm gonna go ahead and ink up my pumpkins. And I think you'll know what I'm talking about here in just a second. So I'm gonna put this down and I'm going to stamp. And when I do the rest of the tractors, I'm gonna actually take out this black mat because it's just a little bit too much. But get this down. And that's not bad, not bad. I wanna make it just a little bit darker. So I'm gonna take a little bit more of this pumpkin pie ink, close it up, and then we'll stamp this one more time, make sure that's in the corner and this lines up. And this is what's so brilliant about the stamp positioner is if I need to do a couple, 2 or 3 layers to make it darker, you can see this is much darker. Okay, so we've got our pumpkins. We will die cut those in just a second. I'm gonna take this black mat out just because it's too much. And we're ready. These are just other tools that I have in here to help me with alignment, but I'll move those out of the way. So this is back in the corner. I'm gonna use my Simply Chamois. Simply Chamois is great for all kinds of things, including being able to clean off these stamps when they're on your stamp positioner. So I'll get this cleaned off. We'll pull this off to the side. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some paper and I'm going to do each of my parts of my tractor. So go ahead and line this back up again. And the photopolymer maps are sticky, so I'm pretty much paying attention. I've gone over 3 and I'm at like 1 3/4. So if I have to put my paper back after I do my stamp, then I can do that. But go ahead and pick that up and see if I can keep my paper in the right place, not so much. Down to 2 1/4, which is this one, over 3. Once I have ink on it, it's not a problem. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually stamp this tractor in Cajun Craze. So let's go ahead and get this inked up. Trying to get a good ink on it. Move this off to the side. Press down everything. There we go. Not bad. You can see some highlights. And you know, maybe that's what you're looking for. It's an old tractor. But I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do a second coat on this. And there we go. Much better. All right, so let's take this one off. We'll die cut it in just a second. This also gives the ink a chance to dry. So now I will, again, take my chamois, get this cleaned up. Move this off. Hopefully you guys are still there. Say hello or something. I'm seeing a note that's talking about a preview and I'm just not sure if that means that I'm not live anymore. I don't know. Well, let me see if I can wiggle my mouse around to see if I can see you guys here. Let me just do some checking. I just want to make sure I'm live still. Okay, yes, I'm still live. Yay. Okay, so now we're gonna do this one. I need to get it set up. This is the trailer. And again, it's sticky photopolymer, but we'll get this lined up. That all works. Get that inked up. There we go. We're gonna do one more swipe on this. Okay, there we go. Oh, that one moved just a little bit, but I think it's fine. That's why you always want to test to make sure you're in the corner, but it works for me, so we're good. Okay, now the next one we're gonna do all the black at the same time. I'm not doing these one at a time. So I've got a nice big piece of white. So we're gonna get all of our black lined up. Get this moved off, put it up here, put this up here. We'll bring our black in, and I'm can put my black probably right here. I don't like to get it too close to the edge. I'm going to come in 3. I don't like to get it too close to the edge of this because it just doesn't catch as well. All right, so here's a tire, and a seat. I've got ink on my hand. Look at that. You guys can't see, but I can see it because I got it on my paper. I tell you what, I'm really good at getting ink on me. Okay, so we're gonna do these. I need to do 3 of the tires, the little tires. So let's go ahead and get these done first. I came up 1, I'm over 3. Pull this paper off. Up 1, over 3, and then we'll just rotate the paper. Okay, so bring in my Memento Black. And we'll go ahead, this is going to need a couple of rounds as well. You can kind of see it needs just a little bit more ink. This Clas on glass is making a lot of noise. So let me see if I can get that. All right, these look good. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn my paper. And let's see. Let's see what I can do here. Let's turn it this way. I'm gonna have to do one more little wheel. I like it when Stampin' Up! Adds like a number of, when you've got to make a multiples of things, like I see them do it with leaves a lot, but and flowers sometimes, where you get like 2 or 3 of the same, and then you can just wipe them all out in one stamp or one die cut. But these are all going to be individual, so I'm going to apologize to you guys ahead of time. But the reason I'm doing this is I can show you how to do it, you know, just with the designer series paper. I'm sorry, not designer series paper, but the cardstock. But, you know, sometimes people don't want to use cardstock. They want to do their own stamping. So I can show you how to get that part of it done too. All right, let's do one more. And I'm just going to stick this one wheel into the center of the card. Let's do this. We'll put this one right here. We'll ink it up, and then we'll be good to go for these wheels. Okay, get this lined up again. Make sure I'm not, there we go. Push, and that one actually looks good, so we're not going to do it a second time. So let me clean this off, and then we will pull out the cut and emboss, and we will start to get these all die cut so we can assemble this card. All right, let me pull this out of the way. I'm going to pull this off. I'm going to, if I see it, I don't see it. I was going to put the plastic back on, but we'll just cover that up. To keep this sticky, all you have to do is wipe it off. If you get any ink on it, you can wipe it off. But I do like to keep it covered just because that makes it, when you don't get lint and things like that on it, keeps it sticky. All right, so let's bring in our cut and emboss. Trying to get these pieces out of the way. Here is our sandwich. I'm going to pull my dies out. So I need this die and this die, and I need the pumpkin die, and I need the wheel die, 2 wheel dies, and here is the seat. And I did not do like the engine, the steering wheel. We're just going with what we've got, and we're not doing any bumpers either, so we're good. All right, so let's go ahead and get these all lined up. I'll try to run several of these through at the same time. So we'll get this lined up. And let me see, I am looking for, oh, here's my tape. So let's just go ahead and get these taped up. this one, and then let's take this one. We'll get it taped. Well, I'm going to do the pumpkins too. I'm going to see if I can get them all run through at the same time. We'll see. So I've got this plate, this one, and then I think I can do the pumpkins as well. So let's go ahead and get them. And I just decided to stamp on the peach pie to keep the pumpkins looking more orange, you know, their little highlights, more of an orange versus a white, but you can stamp on the white obviously as well. So let's get this sandwich going and crank this through. And that cracking is normal. Did that work? No, it slid. All right, this one worked, and my pumpkins slid out. So we're gonna go ahead and run them through again. Okay, so we're good with that. And now let's go ahead and start doing, let me see. I'm gonna take my snips and I'm just gonna snip around this. My paper's too wide. So we will do this one first. And I'm gonna utilize the same tape that I used before. I use this tape until it doesn't work anymore. So we'll go ahead and get this. All right, so let's get this lined up. That one, and here's our little one. And this is our seat. So we'll put that right here. I almost got it too close. All right, let's run this through. I cut extras. I won't need them, obviously, but I have extras just in case something happens. And what I'll do is, and you've probably seen me do this before, I put them in the front of my case in my stamp set, so that way when I'm creating, I have extra pieces that I don't necessarily have to create for the next card that I'm making because I've already done it. All right, I have to cut out 2 more of these little wheels. So let me get this lined up, we'll run it through, and then I'll save the rest of it for later. Get my tape off the side, almost done. Pop this out, and one more. All right. There we go. Let me put these dies back so we don't lose them. This one, and I had a lot of dies. Well, I'll get them in here at least, and then I can get them organized better later. All right, so they're in there. This is gonna go in there. And I'm gonna move this cut and emboss out of the way, and we are gonna start to build this card. Here we go. Pieces. Get this tape out of the way. Okay, so bring my little silicone mat back in. And we've got our pumpkins that are going to go behind or inside the wagon, I should say. So let's go ahead and put a little bit of glue right here. And then I'm just gonna center it over my pumpkins. So now my pumpkins are in the wagon. And then we are going to, I'm gonna put dimensionals. We're gonna see how this works because I don't necessarily have to glue all of this together. I am going to put my seat a little bit on the back of my, or at the bottom of my seat for my tractor. And I'm gonna go ahead and place that in here like so. Okay. And then I'm going to turn all of these over and we're going to build by just layering dimensionals. So here's all these pieces. My dimensionals are right here. So let's just go ahead. I'm putting them in the center of my wheels. Go ahead and do this one. Here. So this whole tractor in essence is going to be popped up. And here I'm gonna take, I have some of this left over. I need a skinny piece. So let me see if I can repurpose this. I may have to cut it down a little bit more. We'll do it like here. And another one right here. There we go. And it looks like this little piece, nope, it's good. Okay, so now we've got these. Let's bring our card in and we are going to take our tractor and I'm gonna put our tractor probably right about here. So I think I glued the tires on the last time before I put the tractor down. So I'm doing this differently just because I feel like it doesn't necessarily need to be glued down because basically what I'm gonna do, I've got dimensionals on these, is I'll just bring these tires in, line them up, and they go down, and it's so easy peasy. All right, so let's get this one down. Nice. All right, let's get our tractor down, or our trailer down with our pumpkins. We'll tuck this back in behind here. Let's see. I think I had it tucked in underneath, so I don't know how far underneath I'm gonna be able to go. There we go. Probably about right there. That sounds good. Okay. And then we'll take our wheels and I need to make sure I bring them down low enough so that they're even with the other wheels that I've got. There we go. We now have card number 3. Sorry it took so long. The colors you used are so vivid. I think it will just pop off the card. It does, and it just blends in really well with the fall scene. So thank you so much. Okay, last card, and you'll be happy to know that I did all the die cutting ahead of time. So we're just gonna have fun assembling this card. Okay, so we have the white card base because we're doing this for Christmas. And then I've got a piece of the DSP that actually came from the same paper pack that I was just doing for the other card. We've got all these little pieces that we need to put together. Let me get to a point where I'm going to assemble this and then I'm going to show you what we're going to do because I want to get your opinion on something. So the only stamping you can see that we need to do, let me bring this in. The only stamping that we need to do is Season's Greetings. And Season's Greetings is actually in this set. So let me get this cleaned off really quickly. I don't need all of these little backings. But Season's Greetings, and I'm going to stamp straight on the Designer Series paper. So we're going to do it in Night of Navy. So let's take Night of Navy and we'll just do a quick stamp on that. And that's all the stamping that this card requires. So I'm going to put it right up here in the corner. There we go. And let's clean this off real quick. And we do need to do some inking. So I showed you that we did inking on the other one. We're going to do the same thing on these because we're using just plain cardstock. So I have 3 trees that we're going to ink. And then I have our tractor that we need to ink, but it'll go fast. So let me pull these pieces out. And then we've got, of course, our wheels that we're going to be working with. So let me pull this out and our little hubcaps. And then this is, I call them hubcaps. What are they? They're fenders. Fenders. Okay, so let's bring in the Real Red dauber, and I'm going to bring in the Real Red ink. And we're just going to quickly ink these edges. And seriously, it should not take you very long to do this. You just want to make sure that you get a nice little border around your pieces so that there's a little bit of dimension to it. So I'll do this. I'm not being precise. Let me get this one for a trailer. Again, just doing the very edges. Sure I get plenty of ink. Some areas might be a little bit darker than others. One of the things that you'll find with your daubers is that when you use them, eventually they do start to wear. So the daubers do have to be replaced periodically. I get a lot of use out of them, but the reason I'm even bringing this up is you can maybe see some of the dauber that's starting to fleck away from it, and you can kind of see it on my paper. And so, and I can see it on the edges of my dauber that it's starting to provide some wear and tear, or look like there's wear and tear to it, which there is. I do a lot of inking. So we've got this one and this one. Whoop. Such little pieces. Okay, we've got that, and then this is the last red, and then we'll bring out the green. And I'm actually going to do these trees in Mossy Meadow. We used garden green on the tractor on the first card, but these trees are Mossy Meadow. So let me move this off to the side, bring my Mossy Meadow in. I'm going to attempt to get that off of my paper without messing it up too bad, because it does have ink on it, right? So that's the, but if you happen to have like a little brush, sometimes you can do it with a little brush. I know you guys can't see that, but I'm just brushing it off so that I'm not getting my fingers in it and I'm not smearing the ink. All right, let's bring in Mossy Meadow. And let's do this one quick. And then we can start to assemble. And I do want to get your opinion on, I don't like, or very rarely do I like just plain cardstock. You know, I want to either stamp on it, or I want to ink the edges, or I want to splatter it, or I want to emboss it so that it's not just plain cardstock. And I'll show you what I mean here in a minute. But the first card that I made, I just felt like there was too much plain cardstock. So I'm shaking it up this time around. So let's move these out of the way. We're done with our inking. Move this out of the way. And now what we're going to do is we are going to start to assemble this card. And it does have a little bit of ink on it, that we'll just go with it. We've got some here. This is going to be my front. So note to self, if your ink dauber, and I'm going to clean off my hands too. If your ink dauber starts to fleck, don't do it over your project, because it's ink. It's ink that's coming from your dauber and pieces of your dauber, and it will get on your paper. Now I'm going to cover this up, so I'm not really worried about that part of it, but I do want to make that point known to you guys so that you guys don't have the same problems that I have. All right, so we're folding this in half, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get this piece down. So we'll get this piece down first, and then on top of this piece, we are going to put some snow. So there's a couple things that we're gonna do, and I'm gonna show you here in just a second. So let me get this piece down first. Okay, now you can see on this card that I've got the snow here, and I actually am tearing the edges, and I'll do it again, but the tractor goes all the way across the card, so you really can't see it. So I felt like this snow needed to have some sort of texture or something to it. So what I did is I took my cardstock and I embossed a couple different things. So I have snowflakes, so we could do snowflakes, but these are big snowflakes, so that doesn't really work for me. And then this embossing folder, do I have these embossing? I do. These are retired embossing folders. You know, I try to use current product when I'm working with you guys, but I want you to know that you guys can use whatever's in your library. And so I have a lot of product in my library that I can't sell to you, but I can show you how you can be creative and utilize other products. So I pulled out my Stripe 3D embossing folder, and I thought, you know what, that might work. It just kind of looks like tractor tires in the snow, right? So I thought about that one. And then I also have this, let me see, this is the Settle 3D embossing folder. Again, it's a retired embossing folder, but it's very subtle, but I want to show this to you. So if I put this on and then I kind of start to turn this, it just adds some texture to the snow. So what I want to know from you guys is, should I use the Settle, which is this one, or should I use the, what have I called it, the Stripes, which is the bigger one? If you guys can tell me, I'm gonna, while you're telling me which one I should use for my snow, I'm going to go ahead and put my tires together and my tractor together so that we can get the rest of this built. So doing this, got this part with my little fenders. And now I'm just going to be adding these pieces. So a few little dots. In fact, I'm just going to do them all and then we'll get them all put together. This one. This one. Whoops, got my finger in it. Okay. Okay. So we'll take this and we're going to put it in the center right here. I love this silver foil paper. It just really makes this tractor very classy. Okay, get this one down. And then we'll get this one down. And then I'm going to do the same by putting stripes look like tractor tire marks in the snow. I absolutely agree, Sandra. Absolutely agree. So you picked the one I would have picked. So very good. Okay, let me turn this back over. I was getting carried away. All right, let's go ahead and put some glue along the edges here. And this one. And then we are going to build this out. So right here. And then this one's gonna go. Can you guys see? Hopefully you can. Okay. Whoops. If you've got glue on your fingers, it does follow you. Your piece will follow you. So I need to make sure I get that adhered well. All right, let's get this one down. And this one down. Oh, you know what? I'll just tuck my tires in underneath it. I was going to try to do the same thing that I did last time by just putting the dimensionals on my tires, but I wasn't dealing with fenders the last time either, so I need to Just get a little bit of glue here. And we'll get this down. Get this lined up. Okay. And let's see, we need to get our seat down. And then this tractor has like a little hood to it. You know, sometimes you'll see hoods on tractors. In the summer they have air conditioning. Sometimes they're open, but you know, this is in the winter now. So we need to get this hood on here. And I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna do it. I think I'm gonna put a little bit of glue on this end. A little bit of glue on this end. And then we're gonna set this off to the side to dry for a second. Let me move these tires out of the way. I'm gonna put this down. I'm gonna turn my tractor over and I'm going to kind of set it up like this. And then we'll just leave it there for just a second while it dries. And we can work on the snow. So I am going to utilize the stripes, and Sandra agrees. And basically what I need to do is I need to place it here. So to give it a rough look at the top, I'm just gonna take and I'm gonna tear. And I know the tractor's gonna cover up a lot of this, but it's kind of fun to have that texture from tearing so that it doesn't look, I mean, because snow's not nice and even anyway, right? Especially if you've been driving over it. So let's go ahead and get this down. We'll get it lined up like so. I like that a lot. Okay, let's go ahead, and while my tractor is still drying, I am going to add my trees. So I think what we're gonna do is we'll get our first two trees added, and I'm going to place one here. I need to get it over to the side a little bit, but yet in the tractor. And then we'll take another one and place it here. And we'll go this way. Okay. And then we'll do another one right here in the middle. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put my glue here. And we'll take this one and we will put it in the middle. All right, let me angle it a little bit. So we've got that. Okay, so now we got our trees in our tractor. I still have to get my tires on. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue along the edges here. And then bring my, do I have a tire missing? Oh, phew, made me nervous. It's like, oh no. I wouldn't be surprised, but that did make me a little bit nervous. Okay, let's get this cleaned up, and I'm gonna get this one down here. Stick for me, please. I've got glue on my finger. Go ahead and stick, and then let me see if I can move this over with my tweezers while I'm holding that one in place. Need to stick you down. Okay. So let's move you off to the side so you can dry. And then I'm getting a little messy with the glue, but that's what the adhesive eraser is all about. Okay, so let's go ahead and get these down. And I can go ahead while I'm waiting and put a block there. Let's turn this over. And we'll get some glue along here. Okay. And I'm gonna do this one here first. Get it to stick. And then I'm gonna bring this one over and get it to stick. Okay, so we'll give that just a second. While that is setting, I'm gonna turn this over and we are going to start to add our dimensionals. Whoops, wrong ones. Here we go. Get this out of the way. Dimensional, dimensional. Put one here in the middle. Let me see if I can get a couple up here centered on my trees. Okay, we've got that. And let's go ahead and flip this one over. Being very careful because it's still drying. I'm excited to see what it looks like on this new snow that we are using. I'll do another one right there. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's get our main tractor down. Pull these backings off. Whoops. Come on now. And we'll go ahead and put this down. Bring our card in. And let's go ahead and put him down probably right about here, I think. And then let's take the backings off of this. I have glue on my fingers. It's making me stick to everything. All right, and then we'll take our trailer and we're gonna tuck it in right here. Aww, so cute. Let me just get out my little adhesive eraser here really quickly to get some of this extra glue off that doesn't need to be there. But look how cute that turned out. So this is card number 3. So all of these cards, I mean, so fun to make. They are a little bit more time consuming, but you know, sometimes it's just fun to sit down and play. So here's card, let me pull these down so you guys can see. And then we've got our corn, our harvest corn. So we've got late summer, fall, and we've got our Christmas or our holiday tractors. How fun. I love this little set. Again, this is the Tractor & Co. This is a to-go class. The class itself is free, but if you're interested in getting the materials to create this class and you have the tractors and the stamps, the kit I will send you the kit for an order in my online store. And all of that information, again, is at my website, aprildaviscreations.com. So let me just come back and say thank you so much for watching today. I'm getting ready to transition into a new season. The new catalog comes out next week, and I'm really excited to thank you, Diana. I'm really excited to start sharing with you some of the new items that we've got and transition into the holiday season, not just the Christmas season, but you know, we've got Thanksgiving as well, and you know, blessings and being grateful and all of that. So anyway, thank you again for joining, and I will see you guys next week. Take care. Bye, everyone.